What is up, everyone? N7Day had some infos for us this year. First, we had the TV series, which we learned some new things. And one of that is that it's going to be set after the original trilogy. So we'll have no Shepherd, and that's for the best. Because, like Mike said on his blog post, it's our story. And as a series, they will have to make some decisions about the choices, and that will piss off people. So yeah, an original story set after the original trilogy. I think I know where this is going. I actually expected for him to say, hey, we're doing this story and it's gonna be set into the future. But it being said after the original trilogy, maybe 5 years later or 10 years. But I think it's gonna be more to the 5-year gap. I think it's interesting. And we also had info about the next game, but it was kind of similar to the 2023 teaser, like with how they revealed it. With the 2023 teaser, they had in a blog post binary numbers, zeros and ones. It was 3 different videos which showed the character. So this year was with an art in it. And when it was revealed, the URL Krogan in italic, I searched for it and it led me to Legendary Edition. And that was like, Legendary Edition is gonna have a multiplayer. So after an hour, I think, Bioware posted again another hint and said transmission intercepted. And there I was like, oh, this is how it was in 2023. And then we had an art which revealed something we've never seen before. So they showed this art which is named the Krogan Civil War. Some Krogans being shot, and every Krogan here seems to wear a breather mask. They also wear breather masks in the 2022 teaser with the Turian and the Salarian we see. And then we have Michael Gamble confirmed that this art takes place in the future. So how far into the future, we don't know. But then he said another thing. Every teaser we've seen, or should say everything we've seen all these years, will connect. But I think it's to be expected because they show all this for a reason. So how all this connects will be interesting to see. I think seeing the new events after the original trilogy with new characters and new stories to tell, these stories aren't gonna be only for the series. I think some stuff that's going to happen in the series will also appear into the game. So I think we'll see the Milky Way after the aftermath of the Reapers, the people rebuilding and trying to stand on their feet, and after they destroyed many planets because the casualties were a lot from the Reaper War. I think it'll be interesting because we're gonna see many things in it, like the factions and how the people will act after Shepherd. So yeah, I think we'll have a lot of conflicts again because the conflicts won't end. And the concept art confirms that. The civil war will happen with the Krogans. Once again, the Krogans will start the war. I don't know why they fight. Michael answered someone's question that maybe they're fighting other Krogans. maybe they're factions fighting together, in the Milky Way, or maybe, I don't know. I've seen some people speculating that these Krogans fight the Andromeda Krogans, but I don't know. It's in the future. We know that Andromeda will connect in some way, but I don't know how the Krogans will fight the other Krogans. I mean, the Krogans from the Milky Way, how they're gonna fight the Andromeda Krogans. Or maybe the Andromeda Krogans came back, some of them. I don't know. I don't think this thing is gonna happen. I don't think they're gonna fight like this. But it's interesting because they can go a lot of ways with this. So this character in the middle, as we see, and as I've said before, they all wear breather masks, like the previous art we've seen back in 2020. So the Krogan in the middle doesn't wear a breather mask. So it seems the air is toxic, polluted after the Reapers. Or maybe, I think they're gonna have a problem with the Milky Way after the report. I don't know what, or maybe something else. And this character reminds me a lot of Drag, but the red eyes and the head shape kinda doesn't fit Drag. Or maybe it's a redesign, but he's the only one who had a bone beard. But again, it can be anyone. They're also gonna have the Andromeda design in it. So maybe that's another old Krogan who's gonna be one of the antagonists of the game, not the main villain specifically, but a bad faction we'll have to face. But it's interesting to think about Drag, because if it's a redesign of Drax, again, I'm not saying it's 100% him. It'll be very, very interesting to me because I love Drag, and I think Drag has a lot more to tell. And Gamble said in an old interview before Andromeda released that if they'll want to continue his story along with Phoebe's, they will do that in the next installment, in a future game. So again, it will be very interesting to me to see that. And I hope we see the Andromeda cast. But yeah, a civil war happened, so I see the place here. I'm trying to make out where this takes place. And we see these antennas behind them with wires, because I think those antennas and not buildings. And they look a lot like the antennas we see on EOS. So maybe this takes place on EOS, because Gamble said this is set in the future, and we know that in the future we have a 600-year time gap. So maybe this is where it takes place. Also, the guns on the left and on the right side, it reminds me of the outposts you build on EOS, and you have the militaristic on the scientific toys. So I don't know. And the Krogan that is similar to Drag is very interesting. So it can be either Andromeda or the Milky Way again. As he always does this, they always sometimes you say, this is the Milky Way. And then sometimes it's both. I think in the first teaser, I'm pretty sure that this is the Milky Way we see when we enter the system. That's 100% the Milky Way. I can see a war happening in Andromeda, and I'm not gonna analyze it a lot in this video. I'm just gonna discuss it. I think I'm gonna do this in the next video. So, in Andromeda, if a war happens, I can see it, because we're not gonna have only the cat. Maybe we're gonna have the factions fighting there for something. I don't know what's happening. And maybe if that's Andromeda, it connects with the Arc 6 we hear on the first teaser. Because if a war happened in Andromeda and maybe Ryder had to flee the planet because of this war, or maybe something bad happened to the galaxy, something like a phenomenon, maybe the Scourge destroyed many planets, so maybe they had to leave Andromeda and go back to the Milky Way. And we hear about an Arc 6 departing, so maybe this Arc 6 is not actually leaving the Milky Way and going to Andromeda, but it's Ryder who goes back without the Arc. But again, I don't know how maybe he seeks help in the Milky Way. That's why he goes back to Liara. This connects with the distress signal they sent, because Andromeda sent a distress signal. So maybe the civil war happened in Andromeda and the distress signal was sent. They had to leave immediately and they got back. Or maybe that Arc 6 is not Ryder and it leaves the Milky Way, as I said before on previous videos, and it has Geth. Because I think the Geth are gonna play a very, very important role into the story. And going back to the art, I see some... I think the equipment is old. The equipment is very old. It doesn't... I think it's all new. We haven't seen a design like that. Even the masks are very new. And if you see on the Krogan, the one who doesn't have the mask, he has something attached to his chest. And all the other Krogans have this, but here is more visible. So this has some wires, I think, that it has some wires going from the back to the hands, to connecting everywhere. I don't know if that's just for the breather mask. So maybe this connects to the breather masks. But when I saw this, it reminded me a lot of the concept art we've seen. This one with the vault. And it shows some people there, some species. It has Aquarian and human, Celerian, I think, and a Drell. And it looks like it has a device, like a backpack attached to their backs. Everyone has that. I don't know why they have the devices. Maybe it's for the oxygen. I don't know, it gives me very old vibes, from the suits to the backpacks they have. Like, maybe they don't have the technology anymore to build armor, so they regressed back to more old ways to build their suits and stuff. And it's all new, and it makes sense, because if you think about it, many resources were lost from the Reaper War, so maybe we're gonna see I think we will see a more dystopian Milky Way. I say this for so many years that Michael Gambel is a big fan of Blade Runner, and Blade Runner is very dystopian. I don't know, from the first teaser, it gave me that vibe. And maybe they're gonna be back in technology again, while some other places in the Milky Way are gonna be very advanced due to the Reaper tech. So yeah, I think this Civil War, it can go many ways. It can be about Andromeda, like they fight, and as I said, they leave the Andromeda galaxy. Or maybe this is the Milky Way Krogans fighting, because maybe the Krogans are like, again, not being respected as they always were, and they will start the war again. And that art actually shows, I think it's Ilium. It looks very, very advanced. So they're looked down upon again, and they don't have the technology. Maybe they're keeping, some species are keeping the technology for themselves. And so the Krogans have regressed to other ways. And they don't have many resources. Maybe that's why the war happens. It has a lot of possibilities. So yeah, this war is very, very important. I think it will be an important event, because if a civil war breaks with a Krogan, I think we will have many other wars, and a civil war will break with the Krogan and we'll have to stop them. But this is not the main point of the game. This is only a part of the story we're gonna see. This is the villain we see. So I think something's gonna break down. Something is gonna happen. And you'll remember that concept art with the crater we've seen. It had dead bodies everywhere. Maybe this is the doing of the Krogan. Maybe they fought all the species and they're like the enemies, or one of the enemies. I mean, seeing all these aliens on the crater being dead, I think they weren't certain, but seeing all these dead bodies there, like Quarians, Geths, Salarians, Asari. I even saw an Angara there, and we've also had the Krogans, I guess. But it looks like an explosion happened. Maybe when they were fighting, an explosion happened. So yeah, how will that connect? I'm gonna explain, but I think this first teaser we see with Liara meeting someone is probably the new protagonist or rider, because they have the same design as them. So maybe the Mad Skipper was flying from Andromeda to the Milky Way for reasons we don't know. Maybe they're gonna be closer than before the galaxies due to some phenomenon. Maybe the skirts is gonna bring them closer. I think they're gonna have a lot of stuff to cover. They're like the Civil War. Maybe they're gonna put the skirts or some new phenomenon in the story. Yeah, I think Liara meets the person there, meets Ryder. So yeah, if Liara, they try to communicate with the Milky Way, the Ryder got back for reasons we don't know. Maybe it's a war, maybe it's not, the phenomenon. Liara meets them. Then next year we had the crater poster. Then we had only concept art with Ilium and the breather mask. So in 2023 we have the N7 agent with the Krogan. Maybe this Krogan on the back is the one we see now on the video. So yeah, the Civil War, the teaser trailer, everything connects. Like, and the concept arts, we also see the concept arts which connect. But still it gives me vibes, Andromeda, Milky Way vibes. So both stories, they seem to be connected, but I don't know which ones will be. I think the Milky Way story is gonna be bigger with elements from Andromeda. The protagonist is still up in the air, but I'm gonna be honest, I think we're gonna play as a new character and a new squad. Because honestly, I can't see Ryder. Andromeda was like 7 years. It's been 8 years since Andromeda released. So yeah, as much as I'd love to see them, I don't have any hopes. And so I think that people need to stop believing that Shepard will return. I see many people here in the comments on X that I see them still hoping that they'll play with Shepard, and that's not the case anymore. Michael Gambel made it pretty clear that the series are gonna take place after the trilogy with an original story, and these original stories elements are gonna be moved into the next story with a new protagonist and crew. So yeah, my expectations are 0. I don't have any expectations anymore. Still, I'm gonna be disappointed, but it is what it is. Can't do anything about it, because I think they're gonna be he will want to bring the fandom together. He'll want to bring back all the fans that made Mass Effect what it is, and he'll try to make a story that has many elements from the trilogy, some elements from Andromeda, with a new character. This character, I don't know, it kind of reminds me we're gonna play as different species sometimes. But I think the character is gonna be a human, as it always were. Yeah, I think that's it. I don't think there's anything more to cover here. For sure, I will make the next video about all the clues and how they will connect, how everything connects, because we have many hidden things. And I've analyzed many things, like the audio and some things you haven't heard before, like Angara speaking in the first teaser video. One sounded like exactly like Jal. So yeah, from the visuals, everything will connect. The teasers, the concept arts, the audios, everything connects. It's still surprising because this marketing, I've never seen it before. It's quite clever because he doesn't reveal many things. But it's been 5 years and I actually expected to see something. But with how games go, you've all seen how GTA got delayed again. For me, I would prefer it if he didn't show anything and just show the game when it's ready. But still, it's interesting. I think that's pretty much it. So the next video is gonna be about everything and how they can connect. Thanks everyone for watching. I'm very happy to make all these theories. I'm very grateful for all of you to see what my thoughts are and what your thoughts are. You can check out all my videos and see everything that I've analyzed. Once again, thank you all for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.